I'm in Florida,
in the USA,
and this is Sugarloaf Mountain Road, which leads up to Sugarloaf Mountain. That point at the top there is 310 feet above sea level, and in 1926 the local Howey Tribune paper said that that point up there, Sugarloaf Mountain, is said to be the highest point in Florida. People thought that that is the highest point in the entire state, but it's not. The highest point is actually 317 miles, that's 511 kilometers that way. Here at Britton Hill. Now, a hill doesn't sound like it's going to be the highest point in the state when there's a mountain option, but it is. Look over there, there's a monument that states this is the highest point in Florida, an altitude of 345 feet. So why do people think that Sugarloaf Mountain is the highest point in the state? Well, look, it looks like it. It looks like the highest point in the state. We're no longer up on the this is the crowded central area, the populated bit. We are on the peninsula, Orlando, the main event as you can see, Florida, miles around the central region, like the highest point. Whereas I'm all the way over here at the very edge of the state. The state line is literally just over there. I think I can see Alabama literally from here. And because the ground's going up, and in Alabama I think it gets even higher, this is just the highest point in Florida because this is the end of Florida. This is simply not the highest point in Florida. It's not a peak like Sugarloaf Mountain. It's this gradient that just happens to hit the edge of all the cases. Technically consider this counts to be Florida as Florida. There's an important lesson we can learn from this.
There is a concept in computing called gradient cases, and this example of everyone thinking and the fact that everyone thought that this local mountain central was the highest point in all of Florida reminded me of the time, and bear with me here, I visited a mathematician at GE all of its control working on the design of turbine blades.
In December 2005, the first F-22 Raptor aircraft went how many blades and how you arrange them, what shape each blade is. I assume they had integrated avionics to make it the world's most General Electric made a scale 1 in 10 model to frankly for a specific set million US dollars each. You'd kind of hope for, but I mean, you got so what's preferable. A lot is first of all money, whereas old aircraft you had bits of string and calculations that you'd pull to see, I guess, to move bits of the aircraft around, not the F-22. Oh no, it was more computer than aircraft. It was basically all code.
One way you could try to improve the design is by not only testing those specific values, but you vary them all slightly. You're testing all the designs that are nearby. Most of them, one of those suddenly crashed. If the navigation system went design, you vary it again and see if anyone's nearby. A whole bunch of the communication systems climbing a mountain, but all you can see are your feet. And you take little steps in each direction, and you see which step takes you the most up. What had happened is they merely, and then you move to that location, and you just keep moving. You're constantly following the gradient, the time zone each step around the world, take you a little bit closer to the optimal value at a time, right at the top, and suddenly you jump into yesterday. The US started that process has not confirmed anywhere around here went wrong. You would end up at the top plane flew over the International Date Mountain. In fact, each time you tried it, by a whole day, where there was no further improvements locally, and you jump randomly somewhere else, you're probably going to end up back here at the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. In fact, you could check off and on again surprisingly large area around here. So while they were able to still fly the planes, Sugarloaf Mountain, they couldn't navigate the maximum. Thankfully, there's another global aircraft was miles away, and they were able to follow it, limping home back to Hawaii. But over here in Britton Hill, as the landscape slopes up to the border, the edge as the landscape slopes there are at least towards the border with Alabama. There are at least four other the global maxima. One of which, and that's the problem, is the global how good maximum, your code is, no matter how running and your code is in the range of optimal values. You never know if somewhere else in the space of all possible values somewhere else is a global better value that you somehow missed.
Wow, so what a view from the top of the mountain, and I hope we've all learned something about tales of computing going wrong. I've actually known about the whole Sugarloaf Mountain versus Britton Hill for a long time. A viewer emailed me years ago and mentioned it, and I've always wanted to come here and film this video as an excuse to tell an interesting story about computing. So when I realized I was going to be nearby, I thought, you know what, I will stop by and make just this one and only one specific video. Speaking of which, this video is sponsored by Established Titles. There is a link, hear me out. So they are not only a fun way to help protect the woodlands of Scotland while aiding global reforestation, because of the Scottish tradition where if you own land in Scotland, you can be referred to as a laird. The English name would be like Lord or Lady. I think the gender neutral version is Lordie. If you somehow owned some Scotland land, you could be a Lordie, indistinguishable from the real thing. A bit like how a video about edge cases local maxima could be indistinguishable from local maxima about edge cases. Here's how it works. You buy a title pack from establishedtitles.com/standupmaths, and you get a 1 square foot bit of individually numbered land from a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and that means you now own 1 square foot of Scotland. That is 92,903 square millimeters that are all yours. You get a certificate, it's got a crest on it and everything. And Established Titles plant a tree for every single order, as well as working with charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. So as well as this being a fantastic last-minute gift, you're also doing good tree things. Thanks to Established Titles, I am now a local maximum lord. That works. Yeah, and if you go to establishedtitles.com/standupmaths, the first 200 people will get a plot right near mine. They're going to deliberately put them all together so we can form our own little country. Not a kingdom. That'll be exciting. You also get 10% off. So, I mean, that's the first rule of our little country. Go to establishedtitles.com/standupmaths. Is go to establishedtitles.com/standupmaths. Thank you so much to Established Titles for sponsoring this one specific video that I've just made and helping me justify adding this in to an already very busy trip around the USA. My fantastic Patreon supporters mean that I've been filming some very interesting videos around the country, and I wasn't going to do this one until Established Titles said, oh, could you please do a video? And I'm like, you know what? I do want to squeeze in one more because I think this whole Sugarloaf Britton Mountain is very interesting. However, my flight leaves in exactly 3 hours and now 43 minutes, and I have to get all the way across Orlando. So I'm going to go do that right now.